We've just heard sort of an unrelenting litany of negative news from around the world and markets. Take us behind those overall numbers. What is going on?
Well, I think actually the markets are being pawed by the bear right now.
Pawed?
Pawed. Yeah. But they're going to be mauled, in the months ahead.
Well, there you go.
And the reason for it is this is not just the end of a bull market. I think it's the end of an era. The end of a worldwide era in which central banks printed money, injected liquidity, supported markets, manipulated and intruded in the pricing of financial assets like never before. And what it did was create a massive credit expansion in the world that's stopping. We had 40 trillion of debt in the world in 1995. We have 225 trillion today. Everywhere is at peak debt. China is, the United States is, Europe obviously is. Secondly, the central banks are all out of dry powder. The Fed has painted itself into a corner, and now we hear the market saying no interest rates in the increases in the coming year. That's 100 months effectively at zero money market cost. You will destroy a financial system on 8 years of zero cost money. China is actually fighting desperately a massive capital outflow, which means they have to tighten. They're in quantitative tightening. That's what's supporting the currency.
Okay, we need to break this down, though.
Okay,
I mean, this is an overall, you're painting a bear market picture, a recession on the horizon.
Global recession on the horizon, recession coming to the United States much sooner than anyone realizes because they're misled by the lagging and phony employment numbers that are put out by the BLS every month. If you look at what counts, what employers are paying into Uncle Sam daily in payroll tax withholding, it is turned negative. On a real basis, after inflation, it's running in the last 4 weeks negative 4.5%. That has always been an indicator that recession is coming, that a big pullback is happening in the economy because the whole narrative about how awesome everything is has been wrong.
So this is a powerful and very negative picture. We've had person after person after person come in with a very different picture, saying the chances of recession are very limited. In fact, just yesterday, Goldman came out and said 25% chance or less there's a recession. What is it that you see that none of them see?
What I see is that out of the last 7 recessions, Wall Street and Goldman in particular has predicted none of them. Out of the last 3 or 4 huge downturns that we've had both in the market and the economy, the Fed had no clue it's coming. The mainstream narrative, which is dominated by a Keynesian view that the labor market drives the whole GDP, is not only failing, but it is so completely wrong that they can't see. They're looking in a rearview mirror and they can't see what's coming right at us, which is a global deflation as a result of massive overinvestment in everything from iron ore mines, to container ships, that resulted from cheap capital and cheap bank credit that the central banks generated over 20 years. We're in something new. It's closer to the 1930s than anything we saw before, in the sense that we're going to have a CapEx depression. And CapEx is really what drives profits. CapEx is jobs at Caterpillar pay a big wage. CapEx jobs disappear, and it has an enormous impact on the economy.
So all of us can be wrong. If you're wrong, how are you wrong? Why are you wrong? I mean, look at the U.S. consumer is not nearly as leveraged. The average household is not nearly as leveraged as it was in 2007, 2008, correct? They have more money to spend. They've got more money because gasoline prices are lower.
I think the point on that is they were so hideously over-leveraged in 2008 that a bad thing happened. Today, there is still more than 13 trillion of debt, mortgage, credit card, etc., on the consumer. It's still 180% of wage and salary income. Historically, it was 80%. So we're still way out in the woods. Most consumers, not the top 10%, they go to Macy's and they were buying stuff and now they're not, but the bottom 90% of households are living hand to mouth. 60% of them don't even have any cash savings, and they haven't unlevered at all. And so therefore, this idea that the consumer is so healthy, I think is just Wall Street propaganda.